What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk about goal setting and tell you why I failed at achieving my goals in 2019. Then I'm sure you've already heard of the book Atomic Habits. I'm going to talk a little bit about my biggest lessons from that book. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Nate Medina. Welcome to my first episode. I invite marketing students and aspiring marketers to follow me as I build my own business and brand and discuss marketing trends each week. If you're looking to stay on top of marketing trends and grow your knowledge in marketing, please subscribe to my channel. This is my very first episode. I wanted to create this channel to invite you on my journey in building a business and learn about the lessons along the way. First, a little bit about myself. I'm from California and I have a passion for movie making, so much so that I wanted to go to USC to study film production. It was my dream school. Unfortunately, that didn't end up happening as I got rejected from USC and other top film schools that I applied to in 2014. Luckily, an opportunity at UC Berkeley opened up. I went to UC Berkeley in 2014 studying business administration at the Haas School of Business. I graduated from UC Berkeley in 2018. At Cal, I worked on a startup called Impulse, which was a social app that got college students to hang out together. Also, while in college, I interned in marketing at Facebook and Google, which was awesome as I got to see firsthand how these companies market their products and services. At these companies, I met some of my closest friends and brilliant people. After UC Berkeley, I decided that it was my chance to move outside of California for a bit. I moved to Boston to start my career at HubSpot. HubSpot, if you're not familiar with it, offers businesses the ability to market, sell, and service their products. I'll definitely be diving more into HubSpot in later videos. If you haven't heard about HubSpot, check us out on Glassdoor. HubSpot was ranked the best place to work last year, and so far this journey has been very fun. Currently, I'm a marketing manager at HubSpot working in product marketing. I've had experiences in HubSpot working in acquisition and campaigns marketing, which is essentially demand generation, as well as working as a technical product consultant helping customers make their businesses run smoothly on the software. I'm Mexican American, and I know it's kind of weird to throw that in there, but I think it's important that we embrace our cultures and appreciate our roots. Talk to me about al pastor tacos, salsa dancing, bachata dancing, and everything in between. Finally, my favorite travel destination is hands down Japan. I've been to Japan for a week, and I had the best time getting lost in the unique culture and trying the amazing foods, especially the traditional ramen and fresh sushi cuts. Okay, now that's out of the way, it's nice for me to introduce myself. Let me know who you are in the comments below. I'd love to get to know you. I've been lucky to have had some cool experiences growing up, but they weren't without working hard. For example, I was lucky to get into UC Berkeley, but I also set myself to be more lucky by being accepted because I studied hard in high school. I ended up being valedictorian in my graduating class, and it all started with goal setting. Growing up, I didn't see a lot of my older cousins or peers going to college. It was not as normal to me as it may have been to others growing up. But luckily, my mom sort of preached about college at an early age. And although I didn't really know what college was, I knew that I wanted to get there. We all have stories that we tell ourselves, right? We're creatures of our environment. And we eventually get to a point where we either continue developing and going after what we want, or we get sidetracked from common instances of life. That's why I think it's important that we start this series off talking about goals. And by no means am I perfect here. If we look at the goals that I set up for myself at the beginning of 2019, you'll see that I failed at achieving most of them. Question for you, actually, here. Do you set your own goals for the year? Like at the beginning of 2020, did you write down what you wanted to accomplish for the year? I'm curious if there are others who do something similar to this. In 2019, I set 22 goals at the beginning of the year. And once I had got to the end of the year, I had only completed 10 of them. That's 45% of the goals that I set. Some of my goals were too ambitious or overly challenging, like paying off 30% of my student loans by the year's end. But that's no excuse. At the end of the day, the reason why I didn't accomplish my goals was because I didn't hold myself accountable to achieving them. One of the biggest goals in 2019 that I had set was to start this YouTube channel and create my website. I'm talking to my friend Esteban here, quick shout out to him, about starting a website so that I can share some of the marketing lessons that I learned on my job. Esteban is a friend who I tell everything to. I'm telling him here that I'm going to use WordPress to build my website. Now look at this date. That's the most important thing. It's November 25, 2018. That's about 19 months ago, a whole year and a half flew by without me actually getting there. Then in March 2019, which is about 14 months ago, I actually began building my website. In this conversation, I'm talking about editing my website as part of my schedule for the day. If you want to know the process about how I created my website, let me know. Then we get to a point in October of 2019, 8 months ago, where Esteban calls me out. He says, "Yeah, I remember you sent a pic saying you were going to launch a website on October 1st. Boom. After all those months from when I said I was going to launch a website, it still hadn't been done. This felt like I was a fraud. I had committed to doing something in 2018, and I still hadn't done it a whole year later. And building a website isn't hard nowadays. I could have had one up and running much quicker, but I let a lot of things get in the way of my goals. Have you been in a similar situation? After a whole year has passed and you didn't accomplish what you wanted to? It sucks, right? Doesn't feel good. I track my goals in Google Sheets. As you can see, I didn't accomplish the goal of creating a website and blog at the end of 2019. And here we are in May 2020. Finally there, I have a website. It's live. Feel free to check it out. NateMedina.net. Quick shout out. I built it myself using WordPress and a few other technologies. And I'm barely getting my first YouTube video out. This one's it. I try to think about how I could have avoided this from happening. And I think I finally found an answer after reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. I don't have enough time to tell you about all my lessons from Atomic Habits in this video. I'm going to save that for episode number 2. But in this one specifically, I want to touch on the first lesson. This is the difference between systems and goals. James Clear recommends following systems, not goals. Growing up, we heard about how important goals are to set. And society preaches us to set goals and work at achieving those goals. But goals aren't everything. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Since we're focusing on the long term, goals don't help us understand what it takes in the short term to get there. Goals are about the outputs. Instead, focus on your systems, the process that led to achieving the outcomes, also known as your inputs. If you fix your inputs, the outputs will fix themselves. Goals are about winning the game in the short term, whereas systems are about continuing to play the game in the long term. Systems are about falling in love with the process. I want to give you an example here from the book. James talks about Dave Brailsford, a British cyclist coach. And he's one of the people who actually proved that focusing on goals or outputs was not the right way to do it. Since 1908, British riders had won just one gold medal at the Olympic Games. And they couldn't perform well in the biggest races like the Tour de France. In 110 years, no British cyclist had ever won the event. Brailsford had been hired to put British cycling on a new trajectory. Brailsford and his coaches began by making small adjustments you might expect from a professional cycling team. For example, they redesigned the bike seat to make them more comfortable and rubbed alcohol on the tires for better grip. They asked riders to wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain ideal muscle temperature while riding and use biofeedback sensors to monitor how each athlete responded to a particular workout. The team tested various fabrics in a wind tunnel and had their outdoor riders switch to indoor racing suits, which provided to be a much lighter and more aerodynamic experience for them. What made Brailsford different from previous coaches was his relentless commitment to a strategy that he referred to as the aggregation of marginal gains. This is the philosophy of searching for a tiny margin of improvement in everything you do. Just 5 years after Brailsford took over, the British cycling team had dominated the road and track cycling events at the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, where they won an astonishing 60% of the gold medals available. 60%. 4 years later, when the Olympic Games came to London, the Brits raised the bar as they set 9 Olympic records and 7 world records. This is the power of what can come from a tiny margin of improvement in everything that you do. Reflecting on my own goal-setting strategy for 2019, here's where I went wrong. I set goals, but I only reflected on my progress once or twice throughout the year. Towards the end of the year was when I dedicated the most amount of my time towards accomplishing the goals. In order to prevent this from happening again, I've implemented a system using Google Calendar that I'm reminded about my goals constantly throughout the year. I literally set calendar alerts for every week to do a weekly check-in on my progress each Sunday. So far, this has been working well for me. James learned that his results had little to do with the goals he set, but the systems that he followed. So for myself and for you, remember that goals are the outputs, like getting your dream job after college, or finding a partner, or making your parents proud. Of course, the more specific you can be with your goals, the better. Whereas systems are about the processes that lead to those results, the inputs, How will you get there? What changes will you make to influence you getting closer to your goals? To be clear, goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. A handful of problems arise when you spend too much time thinking about your goals and not enough time designing your systems. Achieving a goal only changes your life for a moment. That's the counterintuitive thing about improvement. You need to solve problems at the systems level. Fix the inputs and the outputs will fix themselves. So if you want to get a great job out of college, then that means you need to have a solid resume. Make sure you build credible experiences, which means you need to develop social and leadership skills, which means you should probably read books on this type of stuff. So systems, as we talked about, are long-term thinking. Okay, so now you know the difference between goals and systems. Here's how I'm thinking about it, and here are 3 things that I know to be true. First, rewards come to those who put in work consistently. There is no such thing as a free lunch. Second, rewards don't come in the short term. We're talking about the long term. I'm trying to do this. I encourage you to do it as well. Try to shift your mindset to thinking about the long term. And lastly, number 3, small actions every day lead you to becoming better at achieving your goals. And these are the values that I'm taking with me on my journey to start my own personal website, blog, YouTube channel. I can't stop waiting. I've had a bunch of fear that kept me from starting. What if my videos aren't good enough? What if people don't like what I say? What if no one subscribes? What if people make fun of me? The list goes on. These are the thoughts that are going through my head. But I'm going to continue going through it. And while I know I can't be 100% ready, I'm taking the risk of starting. And I'll learn and improve along the way. My message to you, if you've been waiting to start something, is to just start now. You can spend all the time in the world waiting to start something, then a year passes by, like what happened to me, and you're left wondering what happened. I wanted to start this YouTube channel a year ago, and here I am, a year later, finally uploading my first one. I want to invite you to see how I'll create this business and teach you insights from my marketing experience. My mission is to help thousands of people find their marketing dream job. I think this is something that I have a lot of experience and insights in, and I think something that I've become better at over the years is getting jobs in marketing. For example, I've worked in marketing at Google, Facebook, and currently HubSpot, as I mentioned before. I've also mentored college students or young professionals to help them get jobs in marketing. So my plan is to create some sort of product that helps people get their first job in marketing. The product, which could be a video course, will be targeting marketing students and people looking to change careers into marketing. At the same time, I want to provide free value to people interested in marketing by uploading videos to this weekly series, writing on my personal blog, writing tips on my newsletter. These are just things I want to do to offer free value to people like yourself or other people who would find this useful. In my journey, you'll learn exactly how I set up the business and learn from my mistakes and insights along the way. I really want to invite you to join me here in seeing how this process works. And I also want to learn from you if you started something or have insights that can help. My hope is that I can inspire some of you to start your own business or do something entrepreneurial that you've been putting off, trying to tie it all back to that start now mentality. Okay, so where am I today? Well, I have my website and blog set up. I write useful marketing articles and lessons there so that I can build a following over time. This website took a while to get set up, and I did it all myself using AWS Lightsail, WordPress, and Elementor. I can talk more about this process if you want. Just let me know in the comments below. I'm using HubSpot as my marketing automation system to send newsletter emails and collect submissions. In a future episode, I want to set the mission and core tenets of my business so that I can show you exactly what I'm doing. After that, I'll begin to outline some of the course content that I'll start creating. As I mentioned already, in the next video, I'm going to dive deeper into atomic habits and share my lessons from the book. So that's all from this week's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. A few things before we end. Please like and comment on this video to let me know what you're looking for and what you want more of. Subscribe to my channel to stay up to date and tap the bell icon to get notifications when a new video is uploaded. And finally, go to my website. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. And if you want, subscribe to my email newsletter where I'll send you the 3 best marketing articles that I've read each week with a summary of why I think they're important. Thank you so much for following. This is Nate Medina. Peace out.